The end goal is basically to become the main infrastructure for all of the iGaming products on chain. So to go multi-chain, to provide the products that we're providing right now to Arbitrum users and others, to all blockchain users and developers. Basically, to become the go-to place for developers that want to develop iGaming products on chain.
Welcome to the Never Die Podcast, your source for crypto alpha for those who never quit. Today we have Joker from WINR, a crypto gambling platform that is much different than anything you've probably ever seen in the space. And that's because, unlike some of the names that you might be familiar with, they've built their platform completely on chain, which opens up a lot of possibilities you couldn't have with the centralized platforms mostly dominating the space today. They also aren't just a crypto gambling app, but core infrastructure for other app developers to come build their own front ends on. And surprising to me, infrastructure for normal crypto gaming to build on when it comes to things like randomness or provable fairness, liquidity, etc. Joker also has some really interesting and maybe a little bit spicy takes on Rollbit and why they might not be making the revenues that they claim that they are. It's a really great episode. Let's dive in. Can you really simply give a little bit of context to who you are and just explain what is WINR?
So I'm one of the BD guys at WINR. I'm called Joker in the online space, let's call it. What we're doing at WINR is we basically provide an infrastructure that is specifically tailored for iGaming front-end operators and gaming providers. And we are facilitating the development of decentralized, trustless, and transparent products. And through the platform, products can be built with a focus on maintaining decentralization, trustlessness, and transparency, therefore fostering basically a robust ecosystem within the iGaming industry. And right now we have a couple proofs of concept that are live and running on the WINR protocol itself.
Just to break down what you just said. So basically, you guys are like a platform for applications to build upon. So you guys are in when you say iGaming, it's essentially like gambling, and it's like crypto gambling. And you guys are a platform for other brands, developers, entrepreneurs to come build their own apps on and use you as sort of the infrastructure for those apps.
Exactly. The incentive mechanism, which is the dual token model that we provide, WINR and vested WINR token model, and the liquidity pool, which is the counterparty to all the games that are running on the platform, and also the games. So WINR Game SDK is available for anyone to use. So the games can be implemented with their own front end. And apart from this, the front-end operators, they can also use our VRF, which is the fastest in the space for random number generation, of course. Apart from that, our smart accounts contracts are also available to use, which allows users to not have a MetaMask wallet and just play the games on the platform without connecting any wallet. They can just deposit any crypto and start playing on the platform.
To give maybe a loose analogy for people that don't understand, think of something like the App Store. And so when you look at Apple, you have the App Store, and then you have on the App Store apps being built. And so they're building the infrastructure of the App Store essentially for this specific niche, for this crypto gambling niche. And so that all these apps don't have to build that from scratch because it's actually really hard. And then developers can come build their own gambling apps and not have to worry about the infrastructure part and just worry about the front end, the UI, the UX, the marketing, and attracting players.
Exactly. I mean, just as Apple has its Swift language, we have the WINR protocol for the developers to use.
And how does WINR work, and how is it maybe different than something like Rollbit or other kind of crypto gambling I think there's Stake. Rollbit and Stake are the two that come to mind. How would WINR be different than those apps?
So the major difference of WINR from those platforms is that WINR is truly decentralized. I mean, the smart account system is running on chain. The VRF is running on chain. The games themselves are running on chain. So the thing with Rollbit and Stake is that They call themselves crypto casinos, but the thing is, the only thing crypto about those platforms is that they only accept crypto deposits and withdrawals. And when you win big on Rollbit, they ask you to go through a second KYC. So that's how being centralized affects the users. So, but Winner, on the contrary, is truly decentralized. You can just connect your wallet, start either developing or providing liquidity or just playing the games.
Yeah, and I would say what you just said is even controversial. Like Rollbit and Stake.com, they wouldn't like refute that and be like, "Oh, we are too decentralized." They'd say like, "Yeah, no, we're definitely fully centralized. We just allow people to use crypto to gamble." But that is their interaction into crypto. And then with Rollbit, they do have a token. So they have their RLB token. So you do get maybe an added benefit of you can not only play these games, but you can almost own the house in a sense because they have their buyback and burns. But that'd be how they like edge into crypto, where you guys are a lot different because you guys are like on chain. Like you're an on chain crypto gambling platform. Meaning like everything is transparent, trackable. You can see it all on chain. It's just a completely different approach, and it's also a lot more of a difficult approach. So what are some of the like difficulties with maybe something like having an on-chain gambling platform versus something like a centralized one? What are some of the hurdles that you guys are having to overcome?
Sure. I mean, in general, doing something on centralized servers is much easier because you don't have to worry about the memory usage, for example, because these servers, they provide sufficient RAM for you to work on, and you don't worry about the speed in terms of user experience, of course, because the servers are running really fast. But with chains, it's different. You have to be very efficient, and also since all the information is publicly available to anyone through these block explorers, you have to be clever with how you're writing your code. For example, with a card game, let's say, the deck is shuffled in the beginning. The order of all the cards in the deck are predetermined, but you have to hide this from the user. Otherwise, the game wouldn't be playable. But you also have to store it publicly on the chain. So there are some tricks that we have employed since the beginning to run these games on chain. Of course, the most difficult part was to get closer to the user experience that is provided by these centralized platforms. And with our VRF, with our own VRF, and also with the progress in these layer 2s we are running on Arbitrum, we have made it possible for a coin flip, let's say, to last less than 1 second, even though it's on chain. So these were the main difficulties, but right now we can probably say that we have overcome those.
All right. So what would you say that the killer value prop of crypto gambling, like fully on chain, would be over, for one, like the Rollbits and the stakes of the world, but for two, just like maybe the traditional like DraftKings and different things like that?
So the first benefit that you're getting from being truly decentralized and on chain is that you have provable fairness. So the games that you play on stake.com, Rollbit, they're running on centralized servers, and they say the game providers are being audited by third parties. But the thing is, you never know if your result in the game that you're playing has been generated in a fair way. So, but the thing with blockchain is that you can just check it. For example, all these stats from all the games that are being played on the WINR protocol are displayed on a Dune dashboard. So you can just go to that Dune dashboard and see if the results make sense. Because our edge is clear. You can just check it on the code, and you can also check it on the documentation. For example, the edge of the game roulette on JustBet is everybody knows it. It's on the documentation. It's on the code itself, and you can just go to the Dune dashboard and see if the results are in accordance with that house edge, right? But this is something you can never do with with a game that is provided by a centralized entity.
Right now, I know one of the issues that I see circulating around things like Rollbit would be a lot of people question they're actually making the revenue they say they're making, or that they're actually doing, certain things in the back end. Like they wonder how a platform, kind of a niche crypto platform like that, could be making, they're doing like $70 million a month in revenue. And I guess on one part, what you're saying is that a platform like this that's on chain, you would never have to question or wonder about that. You could look on chain, see where the revenues are coming from, see that they're real, and there would be no question because you have full transparency. Not only that, but on top of that, what you're saying is you would have full transparency into the actual games themselves and the likelihood of you winning those games. So you could see, hey, the house edge is whatever percent, and this is provable. Like there's no way that we're gypping you or cheating you. It's fully on chain, fully transparent, and everyone can see that. And that's different than even like casinos. Like you go to Las Vegas, you do on these online platforms, like those are black boxes. You don't actually know where this would be, like you said, provably fair. But to that other comment of what I just said about Rollbit, you're in this space. You're involved into it day to day. What is the deal with that? Like, are they actually making $70 million in monthly revenue? Is that real, or how does that work? That just blows my mind because that's like more than most crypto platforms, like out of all of them. Like that's astronomical amount of monthly revenue. What's going on with that?
Of course, that number does not reflect the reality. You can just check that by looking at their deposit address. They're not changing it frequently, so you can check the deposit addresses, and you can just see how much deposit that they're getting per month. I mean, the total amount of deposit is around that number, so the profit should be much less than that, because in a casino like Rollbit, the average house edge is around, let's say, 5%. It changes from 2 to 5 by game. So you can just check it, and that's the number that you should multiply with the total deposits to get the profit, right? So when you do that, you're not getting $70 million per month.
What would, in your opinion, what would it be more likely closer to? Is it like it's more like 60 million a month? Is it more like 50 million? Where would you put it?
I would say around 10% of the number that they're explaining.
So 7 million a month. But they're doing aren't they doing the buybacks in burns? So can't you see that on chain? And or is there some way to get around that, or kind of trick people with that?
You can see that on chain because there is not a framework that they have explained to the public, the framework of smart contracts. So because that is non-existent, you're not able to check if they're doing the buyback and burn thing. So it's right now not possible for us to check that. And also, just because they have been putting these numbers in a wrong way, one of their licenses got canceled. I'm not sure if you have heard about this.
No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, one of the Crusoe licenses of Rollbit, it's been canceled.
And this was directly because they were fudging some of their numbers?
They didn't give an explanation for the decision, but this is, I'm just taking a wild guess.
Got it. Okay, well, kind of to switch away from maybe a Rollbit focus, I'm not as familiar with stake.com because they don't have a token. I don't think they have a token. Maybe they have a token. I'm just not as familiar with them. Do you know what about they do in revenue, or do they share that information?
They don't.
They don't. I'm trying to get a feel for like what are the top people, the top crypto gambling sites actually making in revenue?
So there are a couple decentralized options when it comes to GambleFi, and the amount of profits. I mean, usually these platforms, they have around 100 to 500 users per day, and the total amount of volume that all of these users generate, it does not exceed $1,000 per day, or $100,000 per day. So when you multiply that number by 2%, it's around like 2K per day. So 2K per day profit. It adds up to 60K per month, right? So this is because GambleFi is still in its early stages. The masses, they have not discovered the fact that blockchain is the ultimate space for gambling because of trustlessness. So it's not yet been discovered by a lot of people, but it will. So that's why we are still in the early stages, and that's why the profits are still small when you compare it with the centralized platforms.
Yeah, because I think there is kind of a demand for this, even in the crypto space. If you look at things like meme coins, right? Meme coins are, in essence, a form of gambling, or maybe a form of gaming on chain, where you're trying to pick a winner. It's kind of like horse betting, and you're picking that winner early. But there's a lot of pitfalls in meme coin, the art of meme coining, because you're like finding these early projects, but these early projects could rug, or they could steal your money, or like there's a lot of them are scams. And so, crypto gambling at its core could in some ways solve that issue. And a lot of people say crypto, there's a huge part of crypto that kind of is just like a big casino. It's just a lot of people gambling, hoping to make money. And so if you could find a way to make that maybe safer, but still give people that kind of same feeling that they're looking for, that same kind of fun they're after, yeah, I could see crypto gambling be a huge, like, mega hit in the space. But that would be within the, like, maybe crypto space. What does it take to get like the average person in on something like WINR or Just Bet, which is one of WINR's apps? Do you guys allow, like, can people deposit with a credit card? Is that even possible, or is that something you just leave fully up to the front ends and you let them figure that out?
So in our smart account system, we are using a payment provider. So with that, users are able to buy crypto tokens in exchange of their funds in their debit card or credit cards. So it is something possible, but in the end, they will be getting tokens in exchange of their fiat. So apart from this, what it takes to bring all these people to the decentralized platforms, I think user experience is the most important thing. When you provide the same user experience that is provided by the centralized platforms, since it's much more secure on blockchain, people will be preferring platforms that are running on chain. And apart from this, you have to offer things that are not being offered by decentralized platforms because it's too risky for them. For this, we have launched a second platform on the WINR protocol. The first one is Just Bet. So this second platform is called Decentralized, and it allows you to do leverage trading, changing from 50x to 1000x. So this is something that you don't see in decentralized platforms a lot. But with the price speeds that we're getting from Pit, like very fast price speeds, we've been able to do this. And once you do these like gateway platforms, it becomes much easier for people to migrate to the decentralized platforms, basically.
Have you seen anyone doing, like, because this just popped in my head as you're talking about that. It would make so much sense to have like a front end that's like dedicated literally to meme coins. Like, there is just so many pitfalls, like, but there's people that want to do pre-sales with meme coins. There's people that just want to bet on these meme coins early. And I feel like if somebody built like a framework for like, hey, here, like, we make sure the liquidity is locked. Here's like, it's provably fair. They're not going to be able to rug you. Something like that, I feel like what could take off pretty well. Just because you'd add these safety rails that would just remove some of those risks. Obviously, they're going to still go crazy up and down. I don't know. Have you guys thought about that, or have you guys seen anyone building anything like that?
So like a launchpad made specifically for meme coins.
Like a meme coin specific launchpad, but with the play being like, hey, we want like all meme coins to launch from this place. Like, this is where every future mega meme coin is going to launch. And I think probably making it easier for the average person to launch a meme coin, because that's what's going to happen. Like, we've just seen it in the space where any new thing, like Elon Musk could go in the news tomorrow and say something, and that's going to be a meme coin. And so that those volumes are going to be insane. But making it easier and a little bit safer, I feel like, is something that a crypto casino app could do really well and then benefit from, because it just makes they go hand in hand.
We actually thought about this on a higher level. We thought that, I mean, as you said, trading meme coins is a gamble itself, and the rate at which these meme coins are going up and down, it is totally random, because you can never predict the behaviors of the traders in such a crazy market. So it is totally random. So you can basically develop a game in which new meme tokens are being generated every once in a while, and if they go up or down is determined by random number generation. So these will be mock meme tokens, of course. They will be not real, but it's just going to be a game. So this is actually something that we're planning to launch on DGensBet. Right now, DGensBet has only one game. It is the 1000x leverage trading, and this will be this might be a second game on DGensBet. We've been thinking about it, like mock launches, not real launches. You just buy the token from the IDO, and if it's going to go up or down is being determined by WINR VRF.
Well, kind of switching gears. For WINR as a platform, how much volume and revenue are you guys seeing so far with the apps you guys have?
So right now we have around 100 users per day in JustBet, and at least 5 times that in DGensBet. So in JustBet, let me just check the numbers, because it's changing every day. So let me just have a look at our Dune dashboard. So you can just search Dune JustBet on Google, and you will see all the stats basically. So we have around 2,470 players, and until this point, since its launch, and it's launched in March last year, the total bet volume on JustBet is $85 million. And the average house edge is 2%. So 85 times 2% is around like $1.7 million. So the profit is $1.7 million since the launch. And the total number of games that have been played is 5.5 million. And it's been increasing steadily since the launch. Right now, the number of daily bets is around 2,000. So when you accumulate all the data, you see a straight line that is increasing steadily.
Wow, that's actually really impressive, especially for something fully on chain. $1.7 million. We're not even like, in a full. I mean, we're in a bull run now. I would say we're in a bull run, but it's not like it's like it was in 2021. It's not like peak bull run season. So you got to imagine these things are going to go a lot higher from here. That's amazing. That's actually pretty incredible. And you mentioned you're on Arbitrum, but I think you're on Solana as well.
Yeah,
right?
Right now WINR can be traded on Solana, and our platforms will become live on Solana as well at the end of Q2.
I mean, that's the place to be. I feel like Arbitrum's great, Solana is great. Those are two, I think, places you're going to see retail. I think Base is another place you're going to see it. Probably OKX is X1 exchange. How big do you imagine crypto gambling getting? Like, imagine like 5 years, 10 years down the road. Like, how big do you see this like sector getting? Do you really see like a lot of drive from people saying, hey, we really would like provably fair, on-chain games where we know we're not getting cheated? Or do you feel like most people just don't even care? They're like, I'm going to use DraftKings. I trust it enough. And that's that.
So since we are still in our early stages and we are in talks with some centralized entities, I'm not going to give like exact names, but we have been talking to some of the centralized platforms, gambling platforms, to base some of their games on the WINR protocol. So there is interest because it makes everything automated. They don't have to worry about the liquidity. They don't have to worry about the games, the game contracts, and also fairness. And this is a way in which they can do their marketing as well. I mean, being provably fair is a big thing. So there is interest, and the amount of interest that I have seen so far makes me say that in a couple years, most of the gambling platforms that you see online, they will be running on chain. So that's my guess, because as WINR protocol, we have shown that it is possible to do this on chain. it's possible to run all the games that you are seeing on the centralized platforms on chain. So that's my guess. And also, we are seeing a lot of interest from other chains. Like a new platform is going to be launched on Phantom. It's going to be called PlusBet, and they're getting all of their infrastructure from us. And right now, we cannot accommodate more requests because there has been so many.
To go back to what you just said, which was that you believe in the next 5-10 years, you're going to see like all these gambling platforms switch to on-chain because of the provable fairness. I think there is some merit to what you're saying, in my opinion as well, in that, like we kind of started this segment out, you look at something like Rollbit, there's so much controversy and like things that go back and forth. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. We don't really know, but it's because it's not on-chain, we don't know. And so people speculate and they come up with these wild theories. And I think over time that does kind of drive a wedge of people like sort of trusting it, but sort of not trusting it. And I feel like that does affect also the price of their token as well. But you see the same thing with Tether, right? Tether is like, there's all these rumors that go around Tether. And I actually don't believe any of those rumors are true. I think Tether's totally fine. But because so much of it is a black box, people don't know. And so they kind of invent these stories and these kind of scary things. And I think you're going to always have that because around gambling, because it is taboo. But when I think of something like WINR, it feels a lot more safe. It feels a lot more trustworthy because it's on chain. And I know, like, if you guys were doing anything shady, I'd be able to see that. Everyone would be able to see that. It'd be stupid. You guys would be really dumb to do that. And so, like, everyone's like, oh, cool. Like, we can see what they're doing. This is legit. And this is awesome. And I think there really is like this weird product market fit with the crypto space and gambling. And there's all sorts of things I think you can do outside of just like the traditional gambling games. I mentioned the meme coin launchpad as an example. But there are like other weird things like, what if you took that meme coin launchpad and then you put your degen bet, you like add, 1,000x leverage. All kinds of crazy stuff could be built between these things that just kind of, I think, will bring people to come check it out because, people like this kind of stuff. And they definitely like knowing that it's fair, it's trustworthy, and they're not getting cheated. And they know what they're signing up for. And especially in the crypto space, that's not something you can inherently know with a lot of even these projects that seem legitimate, but are actually absolute trash. Like they are gambling. They're not building a product. There's a lot of Ponzi's that pop up in the crypto space. You don't know, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes with a lot of these things. But I feel like people could get that same kind of outlet from something like these apps being built on WINR. But they could do it in a safe, provable, fair, non-scammy way.
Exactly. I mean, it's not just limited to gambling. Anything that requires randomness, and usually most games do. Like, think of those browser games, like the farming games and some other like space war games and stuff. Randomness is everywhere in those games, and once you have a nice looking front end, all of the backend can be run on chain, and the required randomness and also required incentivization can be provided by the WINR protocol.
Whoa. So what you're saying is this, like, yeah, you guys do gambling, like that's one use case for WINR, but the other one would be crypto gaming, in that, like, say you're playing like Farmville on chain, and when you harvest your crops or whatever, you're given a random between 1 and 10 number of whatever crop yield. And this is important because these assets can be sold on chain and maybe they're worth a certain amount. They could plug into WINR and say, okay, cool, I'm going to use your guys' probability engine to make this provably fair and to make it transparent. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. So you guys are one part crypto gambling, another part like infrastructure for also crypto gaming.
Exactly. I mean, because the main components that these games require, they're usually the same, like a game logic that can run on the front end, but on the back end, randomness and incentivization and liquidity. That
gets me way more excited about WINR. I was already pretty excited about it, but I had it stuck in my head in this like fits in this crypto gambling bubble. I didn't think about all the use cases outside of that. And I think crypto gaming is going to be huge as a whole. And I guess there is a lot of aspects of not gambling, but kind of gambling in crypto or any games, right? Like you have loot boxes, different things like that, that if you're wanting to add in elements of transparency, you could do that on chain. And instead of having to make it all yourself, you could do it through something like this. That's really cool. Could you go through your list of products? I know you guys have smart wallets, you have a game engine, you have liquidity engine. Can you like explain what all these things are?
Sure. So first we have WINR VRF. Its expansion is verifiable random function. So this is a product useful for generating randomness for your needs. Second is smart accounts. So you can use smart accounts. You can use the smart accounts product if you want to remove the friction that is caused by these third-party wallets. So you can just have your users deposit and play with an account abstracted wallet on your platform. And the third product is WINR Liquidity Engine. So this is basically our WLP model. When I said the platform made a $1.7 million of profit since its beginning, so this profit didn't go to a single entity. So this profit has been distributed among the WLP holders. So it's got a pool structure. It's an index asset pool. 25% is Ether, 5% is Bitcoin, 50% is USDC, 25% is USDC bridged, and 10% is USDT. So we want to keep this balance within the pool, and through some incentivized swaps, it's possible to maintain this balance. And also, this WLP has a circuit breaker that secures the liquidity providers. So in the case of like excessive wins and stuff, there's a circuit breaker in place to protect the liquidity providers. So the amount of maximum bet is determined automatically by the circuit breaker, because there's no human intervention when someone is betting. So it needs to be automatically done. Apart from this, incentives is another product. The dual token model, vested winner and winner. Anytime someone makes a transaction on any of the platforms that is connected to the winner protocol, they are minted with a vested winner token. They can either vest or stake this token to get rewards. And a certain percentage of the profits, they are allocated to winner stakers. So Winner Game Engine is another product. So with this SDK, developers have access to all the games that we have developed so far, and they can just get smart contract code for themselves, and with their own front end, they can run it on their own platform. And last but not least is Winner Chain. So Winner Chain is going to go live in Q2 2024. It's going to offer some key benefits like privacy and permissions, gas price reliability, and also rapid iteration and innovation. So this is going to be a chain that is dedicated to the platforms that are running on the Winner protocol. It's going to be separate. We're going to be using Arbitrum Orbit to develop this, and it's going to be much more cost efficient to have a dedicated chain. And also the decentralized validator and reward system will make this feasible. And Winner itself is going to be used as gas token. So these are basically all the products that we have developed so far, and this is still just 10% of what we're aiming to do. We're still constantly working with interested parties, and also we are constantly thinking about new platforms that can be run on the Winner protocol itself. So yeah, but this is all the stuff that we have done so far.
You guys are doing a lot more than I even realized, and a lot of cool on-chain things. That's what gets me really excited because, like I mentioned before, a lot of these other platforms, like, they are interesting. I think they do bring something to the table, and I do like the ability for even something like Rollbit that you can like both play these games and potentially own a share of like the casino in a sense, with their buyback and burns. Although, as you mentioned, maybe not as impactful or meaningful potentially as it seems. But still, like that feels like 1%, right? That's like 1% of the potential with crypto gaming, crypto gambling, and what you guys are doing is like crazy, and it stretches between things. Like you got one part gambling, one part gaming, one part just like this weird liquidity engine. I feel like could be maybe used for other things outside of that. Perps. I mean, well, you already mentioned you have Perps platform. You can go up 1000x, but it fills all these weird areas. It's just really interesting. You mentioned the WINR chain, and you're going to be an Arbitrum Orbit chain. So that's like basically an L3. How does that work? How does that interface with Arbitrum? Like, do you have to bridge between the WINR chain and Arbitrum, or how does that work?
So of course it's going to be running on Arbitrum. There will be batch transactions happening on Arbitrum. So essentially everything will be running on Arbitrum itself. So you will not. You won't need to bridge anything. And actually, this is something that is still in its early stages, and it has not taken its final shape yet. But the overall structure is summarized in our documentation. So it gives you an overview of the WINR chain. So if our listeners are like interested in having a look at what WINR chain will offer, I strongly suggest that they have a short look at the documentation. Apart from that, like the minor details, they have not been decided yet when it comes to WINR chain.
What would you say the end goal of WINR is? Like, where do you imagine WINR in say 5 years' time?
So, the end goal is basically to become the main infrastructure for all of the iGaming products on chain. So to go multi-chain, to provide the products that we're providing right now to Arbitrum users and others, to all blockchain users and developers. Basically to become the go-to place for developers that want to develop iGaming products on chain. And for that, we are always expanding our portfolio of the services. And also, we want to host the most popular iGaming platforms on the WINR protocol.
What would you say is the use cases of the WINR token itself? Like, how does that function? How does it work?
Sure. So the first is that it provides an incentive to the users. When you make a transaction, you're minted a vested WINR token, which you can stake or vest. But apart from that, when you hold WINR, you're getting something called bribe from the liquidity providers. So that's again part of the incentive mechanism, but it's basically what people call real yield. So you're getting a certain percentage from the liquidity providers, and once the transition to WINR chain is completed, it's going to be used as gas token. So that's going to contribute to the deflationary aspect of the token. And for now, these are all the use cases of the WINR token.
What would you say is maybe the bear case for WINR as a platform? Like, just kind of take the other side of the coin, give maybe people an understanding of the risks. If WINR as a platform were to fail, why would you think that would be?
So right now, actually, I don't see any reason for WINR to fail, because there is a lot of interest that we are getting. But one reason might be that people not getting used to using dApps, basically. So that affects all the dApps directly. So when you don't, I mean, just as you said.
So like when users not coming on chain, like if
Exactly.
crypto never takes off, on chain never takes off, we don't solve all the UX UI problems, then all crypto apps are going to eventually fail.
Exactly. I mean, as you said, this bull is different than the last bull, right? In the last bull, we have seen retail coming in the space, buying tokens, using dApps. We have seen that in the last bull, but this time it's more institutional. We don't see that happening. So the prices are increasing, but we don't see more people coming in the space and using the dApps. So if this continues, that will, of course, affect what we're doing.
And last question, what are you most excited about moving forward with WINR? Like, what is the most exciting thing you're looking forward to?
For now, we are developing a new type of game, the grid slot games. You must have heard like games like Sweet Bonanza and stuff like that. So we're bringing those on chain, and I'm really excited about it because I think it's gonna bring the next wave of users to JustBet and in general the WINR protocol itself. But apart from this, in the long run, what I'm most excited about is that having these centralized platforms using our infrastructure and seeing how it's much better than what they've been doing. So this is something that I would like to see in the future, and I think that will be the start of the change within the iGaming ecosystem overall.
Well, as always, none of this was investment advice. You should always do your own research. Crypto's risky. You got to act like an adult and own your own decisions. As I disclosed earlier, I do hold the WINR token. This is something that I've held it for a long time. Well before we ever did this conversation.